What's up, everybody? Carlton Flowers here, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And we are back after a few busy days for me. I've had a terribly busy schedule, but we've got some interesting developments on Solana. So I wanted to give you a quick update. And there is no rehearsal here. I just opened up the price chart to see that big red candle sitting there. So I thought I'd jump in and do a full analysis off the cuff. I will analyze the 4-hour and the 1-day chart and let you know what I think, exactly what I think. And then we'll see if maybe I'll decide on picking up my first SOL or not. So let's get rid of my handsome face. And we are here on the 4-hour chart where we notice the big red candle that is broken below the 50 EMA. So that's kind of fun, slightly significant. Now, in the last video, I was telling you that I was praying for the possibility that this movement would happen, and it did. So we were down to about, what, 160-ish, 175, I'm sorry. We're currently at about 160 with 159 and change ticking away as we speak. But this was the movement that I was thinking would happen had there not been a whale that would jump in and mess up the current status of the chart. And we did get that. But then after we started to tick up a little bit, I just thought, well, let me just sit back and watch for a while. I'm not going to jump on just yet. But then noticing the side banding going on, I thought we were going to launch out of this and move up again, which we did not. It did the reverse, and we failed the 50 EMA. At the same time, we have a very nice bearish twist here on the stochastic as it was making its way back up for another cycle up right here until it got to this point here where the second attempt at reversing was successful. And now the fast line here, the blue, and it is the one that oscillates ahead of the slow line, which is the red one. We call this one the %K. This one is the %D. They're very divergent. Whenever you have that big of a divergence between the two oscillators, in other words, the gap between them is wide, that means you have a strong move that is happening, okay? So whenever they're closer together, it usually means that that's not as aggressive as a move. Like, notice that during this time period, the oscillators aren't that far apart. So it wasn't as aggressive because, as you can see upstairs, we were moving at a nice, somewhat slow rate down as we got to the tip of this little bear flag right here, where the top is sloping down, the bottom is horizontal, and then here's the flagpole. That's a bear flag. Now, when they diverge like this, that's what it looks like when you get a very quick, aggressive drop. We're also diverging on the oscillators with the MACD, and we're printing this big bar here on the histogram that is not quite following the trend of the smoothness of the previous action as it was headed back towards the zero line, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere we get that drop. Something is going on and I don't know what it is because I've been busy all day today. I haven't been able to check out the news and see what is behind this, but we definitely have some type of downward pressure. Maybe there's some FUD that is circulating. We'll just have to see. I'm tempted to buy just to pick up one right now, and that's not financial advice. Don't make decisions based off what you hear from YouTube videos. You do your own due diligence and play with money that you can afford to lose. Now, the volume nodes here, we're sitting below this one, which tells me this downward momentum is going to continue. With this gap here, the divergence in the oscillators, and the gap here on the lagging MACD oscillators, it tells me we are headed towards this volume node at around 140, which would be a fantastic price where I would certainly go ahead and start to gamble and pick one up. If we were so lucky to get a big Bitcoin dump, we could head down here to this volume node that's at around 118. Now, I don't really think we're going to be headed back down to the price control anytime soon at 73. And again, this all depends, in my opinion, on what Bitcoin does. At the end of this video, I'm going to jump to the Bitcoin chart to tell you what I think is going to happen, which will influence the action on SOL. Now, let's turn drawing mode off and zip to the 1 day, and then we'll come back to this and we'll wrap it up. By the way, this 200 EMA magically is sitting down here at this volume node that peaks out here at about 117. So that tells me there could be a possibility that we hit that. Since price has violated the 50, it could come down and touch the 200 here on the 4-hour chart. And that's something that we haven't seen for a long time. Way back here in July was the last time we were sitting on the 200 EMA. We haven't touched it since then. So this could be the chance that we correct, which would be healthy, touch that 200 EMA and then launch back off again. All right, so anyway, let's jump to the 1 day. Here is the 1 day chart with that glorious run up, that ridiculous run up, and what I had talked about before, which was the stochastic staying buried up here in the overbought zone for an extended period of time that had to come back down at some point. They don't just stay up there forever. Now, the reason why I think this exit from the overbought zone on the stochastic is serious is because of this crossover that we're looking at on the oscillators with the MACD, coupled with the fact that the histogram is about at the 0 line. We could start to print negative bars down here on the histogram. We could dip down in here, maybe. Now, it doesn't mean that we always go in the negative when it looks like the natural cycle is about to jump down like a sine wave, because we have times where we jump up again, like this point here, where it looked like it was about to dive into the negative. And what did it do? It jumped back up here and just made another hump, a 2-hump camel, as I like to call it. Now, we are far above the 50 and well above the 200 EMA. And then here was my strike zone box way back when that I was drawing in here to say when I was going to buy. And I leave that there just to remind myself how much I should be kicking myself for not buying in when I had my first notion at 25 to 30, when I was waiting for it to go back down towards 25. And then this happened. Even though this is a great project with just the most fantastic possibilities for where it can go, everything follows a normal cycle, and this thing could cycle all the way down to this 50. It's possible. It could also cycle down to the 200. Let's just draw a line here and extend out. Let's say the 200 will probably continue to pull up because of that price peak, and then it will do something like this as the numbers, the averages will pull it down after these bars get averaged in. And let's put one up here on the 50. So the 50 is probably going to end up looking, whoops, let's make that orange. The 50 is going to end up looking something like this once you get in those new candles. This is just an approximation. I'm just having fun here. At any rate, it kind of makes it a little bit more clear to see as to where these points could be that we could settle at the end of a correction. It could be there or it could be there. And then we have to look over here at the VPVR, volume profile, over here for the possibilities of where that price might land. And we have this little node here on the 1 day. This one barely sticks out, but then the one at 75 really sticks out. And that coincides with the settling down of price at the 200 EMA. I'd love for that to happen, and if it does, I'm aping in. I'm going to tell you that right now, even though I don't think that's going to happen. So then we have this little node up here that is somewhere around 140. So the number one possibility would be this one, then second would be this one, and then based on what Bitcoin does, this little one here, just below 100, or the big one at the 75. That is possible. Now, it's also possible that Bitcoin could reverse right now and we could jump out from this point here, because I think, as I'll show you, it looks like Bitcoin is about to reverse course after we get done with this current 4-hour cycle. And I think Bitcoin might have another run up before a significant drop. And we'll show that next. So these are just the possibilities. It's just something to try out. If you missed out on the Sol train to the top, the Sol train up here to the top of the mountain, if you get lucky, maybe you can jump on the train down here. I certainly will myself. And again, this is not financial advice, and I don't know what's going to happen. This is not a prediction video. This is just showing you the possibilities based on positioning of the current price and the chart and the price history and also the indicators, of course. All right, let's clear this out and then we'll jump to Bitcoin and then we'll be done. Bitcoin is currently at 44,903. We're going to look at the 4 hour and then we'll jump to the 1 day so I can show you why I think either right now could be a good point to jump on an SOL or why you should wait. Here on this 4 hour chart, we have one significant development where we have violated the bottom of the support resistance zone that I have been talking about for the last several weeks. So here it is right here. Will it hold or will it snap back up? Well, I don't think it's going to hold. I think we're going to stay down here. Why? Because of this crossover on the stochastic, the fast line overtaking the slow line and heading down, and very little volatility here on the MACD. And volume is kind of low. After this dip, we don't have any major volume going on. So all I have to go by right now is the fact that we're entering into a slip zone where the volume tapers off on the VPVR. And then we could find this node here at 41,000 in the 40 to 42,000 range right there. But this needs to happen within this next 4 hour cycle. So we're going to look and see what the price is once this 4 hour cycle completes and we're at the bottom. But I don't think this is the big drop. And I'll show you why. Because when we jump over here to the 1 day, let's scrunch this down. Here's the 1 day chart. Look at the stochastic, folks. Unless this doesn't hold, this stochastic is showing a crossover the fast and slow line. If we come out of this and we stay on the up cycle, then look out. We're going to get a pump. And we could pump and break this upper resistance in the parallel trading channel of the downward trending bearish trading channel. However, this could unfurl. This is not a guarantee that this crossover is going to stick because we do have low volume. If it doesn't stick, we can sail down here into the oversold and then price could plummet. The only bit of evidence that we have to show that that will happen is look at the MACD and where we are in the cycle. We've peaked here up in this area. And now we're going down and we're printing negative on the histogram when we're about to cross the zero line here. Wow. So we came down off of a peak way back here. We headed to the zero line. And when we got there, we plummeted. And then we climbed our way out of this. And when we hit the zero line again, we had the pump. Here we are at the top. Direction has changed. Unless this comes back up, there could be a chance that this crossover here unfurls. Now, if this unfurls, then Bitcoin is going to probably jump down here and test the 40 to 42K area. And then we'll have to reevaluate and see what happens if we get a bounce out of that zone to a higher level, or if we come down and test the next support resistance zone. I would play Solana based on everything that I just showed you with this Bitcoin chart. As far as, do we wait to get a better price, or when do we start doing the DCA game? That's how I'm going to play it. Now, I hope this makes sense. I hope it wasn't too complicated, but I will keep you updated on the SOL price movement. So let's just end it by jumping back to Solana. There we are, and we're at 158 and dropping, so it's looking pretty good. We'll wait on this MACD crossover to see if it fully, develops and we start to sail down and get us a nice bargain price. Post in the comments what your thoughts are if you're waiting to get on the Solana train or if you're going to let this one go because it's just too late and you should have been on it long ago. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments. We'll see you on the next one.